As the debate over our nation's immigration policies continues, the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol reports that over 12,000 undocumented immigrants with prior criminal convictions have been arrested in the U.S. this year. Tonight, we highlight the murder of a Colorado Springs man and the 3 suspects charged. Court documents say the men kidnapped Manuel Hernandez Uribe at gunpoint from the El Moro mobile home estates back in June. ICE, or Immigration and Customs Enforcement, tells 13 Investigates the suspects are undocumented immigrants. Arrest records say the suspects allegedly executed him and left his body off of Old Stage Road in rural El Paso County. This is one of many cases immigration reform advocates say serves as proof that change is needed specifically to Colorado state law. But others disagree and say this is solely a federal issue. Investigative reporter Sean Rice is live to explain both sides of this very complex issue. Sean.
Yeah, Heather, the 3 people charged with murder of a Colorado Springs man all evaded federal deportation for years while racking up various criminal charges here in Colorado. According to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Hector Sarabia Cabrera entered the U.S. undetected. In 2022, he pled guilty to possessing drugs with an intent to distribute and car theft in Colorado, but he was never deported. ICE agents apprehended and deported Isidro Sarabia Gonzalez in 2016 for crossing illegally in Arizona. However, he crossed back into the U.S. again. He was prosecuted for multiple misdemeanor crimes when police say he murdered a Colorado Springs man in June. ICE says Braulio Barron Rubio admitted to entering the U.S. in 2006 by wading across the Rio Grande River in El Paso, Texas. ICE deported him, but he returned 3 days later. Since then, Colorado prosecutors charged him with car theft and contempt of court. If convicted on their current murder charges, these 3 men would join the 528 undocumented immigrants serving time in Colorado prisons. Since 2009, the number of detainers ICE is putting on convicted undocumented immigrants has been cut in half. It's a statistic Spencer Raley, director of research for an immigration nonprofit, says has a negative impact on legal immigration.
If we had a secure border, if ICE and CBP were empowered to do their jobs, then the likelihood is high that these individuals wouldn't have made it back into the country.
13 Investigates asked ICE why these individuals were not removed after criminal charges or even convictions. They said it's difficult to find them when local law enforcement cannot provide them information on their whereabouts due to a Colorado state law.
If you've been arrested and you're being held on some charge and you're in custody in the sheriff's office, in jail, you're not being held on immigration matters under an arrest.
Adrian Benavides, Colorado House member in Denver, was a prime sponsor of a 2019 immigration law. It prevents local law enforcement from placing undocumented immigrants on a 48-hour hold at the request of immigration authorities. Prior to the law, this was typically done when an immigrant could bond out of jail or be released when their case is closed. This allowed immigration authorities to locate and detain undocumented immigrants charged with crimes and eventually deport them. Reform advocates say the law is preventing state and immigration officials from doing their jobs.
They understand that these individuals are highly probable to go back into society and commit more crimes, and of course they don't want to see that on their watch. And this was became a way for state officials to handcuff their own law enforcement and continue to protect those immigration lawbreakers.
However, El Paso County Sheriff Bill Elder is now being sued by multiple people who were placed on a, quote, ICE hold before the law was in place, something Benavides says violated their rights and constituted a, quote, unlawful detainment.
The requests that were coming from ICE were just simply requests. They were not signed by a judge or anyone else. And that was the real distinction. We don't do this for civil law. And that's not our role.
Benavides argues being in the U.S. illegally is a civil violation and claims the responsibility for deportation falls in the lap of ICE and the Department of Homeland Security.
They decide who is deportable or not and make those determinations. So that's not something we do in the state that our local law enforcement ever does.
Federal immigration sources tell 13 Investigates they have a desire to deport individuals who commit crimes in Colorado, but with manpower shortages and a lack of cooperation from the state of Colorado, undocumented immigrants charged with nonviolent crimes will likely slip through the cracks. Reporting live in the studio, Sean Rice. 13 investigates.
All right, John, thank you.